Oh, a new brand of fan. This is a Homestead Universal from 1989. Antique brass finish, light oak, or whatever these are blades, shown in the 6-blade configuration. So this is a pretty cool one for me, because this is the first Homestead. Actually, no, that's not true, because I got the polished brass Universal before this one. But, probably a month after I got that one, which was the first one I'd ever seen locally, then a pair of these showed up. There's another one. They're both identical. Air. And overall, these are in really nice shape cosmetically. Has those metal pull fobs, which actually remind me of the ones that Emerson used on their fans that had uplates. Is that the date sticker? I think it is. Yes, 89. I'm not sure when these came out or when they were discontinued, but this seems like it would be maybe a later one or somewhere in the middle. This is a 3-speed fan, however, I thought the low speed was a bit too fast when I first started testing it, so I've got it hooked up to the normal 3-speed wall control that I have in there sometimes, the Lightolier one, so I have that set to low, and then with this set to low, I think it gives it a really nice 4th speed, if you will. So yes, if you're not already aware, Homestead was pretty much Casablanca's, at least one of Casablanca's biggest competitors. They were copying so much of what they did and trying to make it better, which in some ways these fans are better than what Casablanca did, in other ways worse. I'd say one way that they're better is the canopy system along with the mounting bracket. It's actually a pretty unique design. I can't really show it off, but basically the mounting bracket is this big like circular piece where the downrod ball sits in, and then the canopy basically just is held in by one screw, and you push it up and you twist it, and these little like tabs kind of hold it into place. So that's pretty cool. And then Homestead's big thing was 6 blades. So almost all of their fans are 6-bladed, except for the really like early stuff. But yes, this is the low speed. Very aesthetic. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it to what the actual low speed is. So yeah, the Universal was probably their most popular model. They're just not very common around here. Both, well, I can't really say both when there's 3, but both these two and the polished brass one came from Connecticut. Not like super far away, so I guess that's where they were sold around here. Because a lot of New York, New Jersey, and even really Connecticut still is a lot of Casablanca. These were even made out of California as well, just a different town. I think on the sticker it says Ramona, California. It's also possible that this just looks like it's going faster because it is 6-blade. But yeah, I know in places like Illinois and, California where these came from, a lot more like surface around there. glad these came with the lighter blades instead of just the regular oak, because it makes it a bit more special, I guess. So the deal with this one is that it was very dusty when I first got it, and the bearings were really bad. This is a spinner motor. I think it's a 172. It doesn't look like too big, so that's what I'm going to go with. But that kind of means that I'm not really going to be able to do like a bearing replacement on it, or that it makes more sense just to oil them. So I use that classic, whatever it's called, that I use on all my spinner motor fans. Liquid bearings, that's what it's called. And that stuff takes a while to work, but once it's really gotten into the bearings, it does do a pretty good job. Because as you can hear, you like can't even hear it anymore. It's crazy. So that's awesome. Now we go to high speed. I believe the blades were also sold separately with these fans, like a lot of fans were at the time, so you could basically get any combination that you wanted. And it is moving some pretty good air. Not quite stack motor, of course, but it's doing a pretty good job. Let me get a top down from this side. And also, the faceplate is a lot easier to detach and put back together than most fans. That was actually a very nice surprise, because I've never worked on one of these before. Even with the polished brass one, I haven't cleaned that one yet. But once I get that one up, that'll be clean, and that'll probably have some bearing work done as well. You can kind of see, yeah, I've cleaned it, so beforehand you weren't even able to see out the bottom faceplate. Now you can see all the way through the top, and you can see how big the motor is. Again, that's why I say it's a 172. So yeah, I do have two of these. The second one is down here. That one, the bearings were already silent, and it was cleaner, so I imagine that was installed somewhere, maybe like a guest bedroom or something, just somewhere where it's not really used that much. But when I do that one, I'm probably going to show it off with 4 blades, because these fans are interesting in that they can be mounted with 6, 4, 3, and 2 blades, because of how the hole spacing works. I imagine you can tell how 2 and 3 blades works, but it just happens that if you wanted to go with a more vintage look, then 4 blades works as well. So I'll show that one off with 4 blades, and I'll also go into the not very long story of how I got these on Marketplace and the usual shenanigans that happen with that. So the spin out is going to be a long time because I oiled these bearings, but one last thing that I wanted to show is that for some reason, and I have no idea why this was done, on top of every single one of these blades, there were these layers of Scotch tape put on each side, like 5 per side, and multiple layers. I have no idea why. There were no balancing weights or anything like that to indicate that something like that was done. And I left it on one of the blades just so I could show, but it took forever to remove these. Like, what is that? And why? Why? Why must we do these things? If it was supposed to catch dust, it did not work. So, congratulations. But anyways, there you go. That is the Homestead Universal Ceiling Fan in antique brass from 1989. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next one.